I am a bit uncomfortable, and I will ask you this question for clarity.
Yes, my lord.
These hard facts that you claim to have had that led to these testimonies, people who ordinarily should be here to say the different side of the stories are outside saying it's a testimony of, let me use the word, is it a downing man or a drawing man or whatever?
Yes. Yes, I understand.
Man, sorry,
I know what you're talking about.
Yes. So what exactly, what went wrong? What is the problem?
My lord, I know where I was kept or where I'm being kept. I'm far away from knowing what outside is all about. I don't read papers, but when we come to places like this and when people are holding, we try to peep through. And we used to become very inquisitive to our counsels. And he told me that one of the papers had tagged me as the drowning man. And that's why when I come to the panel like this, I do talk. But let me say, my lord, I know in Lagos, my lord, the chairman of this panel, you cautioned in one of the occasions when I brought one of the documents tagged secret, an SSS document, which compelled the DGSSS to come. And when my lord was speaking, whether he spoke directly or not, but it was aired, it was said. I mean, I heard it over the speaker when you were conferring. I'm sure the microphone was on, my lord. And you said, I thought he is a security man, and so he should not tender security papers. My lord, my understanding of this honorable body and the future of Nigeria is to say that facts must be presented clean or dirty as far as yesterday was concerned for you to be able to look at the future and be able to provide the needle and thread to stitch our flag properly. And I talked based on that. But again, I'm still conscious. I know I'm a security man and I'm still talking as such. If I am to talk whole into so many security issues, I don't think the panel can contain me, my lord. My lord, I'm very conscious. Whatever you hear me say here, I am talking about expired informations. I am not talking about expired intelligence. Talk less of intelligence. And I want this definition done, my lord. So to those who classify me as a drowning man, let them know and understand that probably they are ignorant or they are being brought to write what they are writing in papers. My lord, I said it yesterday and I'm repeating again. If they wish to call me the drowning man, it is their right to wish, is their wish to do so. Today, it seems from all the tentacles put around me, I don't even have the right to sue anybody to court. From the aggressions with which we are being pursued with, from the humiliations, from even mere position or to a position of no right at all. And yet here we are invited in the Human Rights Commission to be able to talk on human rights issues. We don't have, but we are speaking about it. Even they understand or not, whether they do, to those who sponsor them, my lord, it is simply because you have had witnesses who lacks the guts to say, I am a Nigerian, I love this country, I'm interested in the future of this country, I'm interested in the future of the young ones, and I love to see a very peaceful, very cohesive Nigeria that I took oath with as a soldier to fight and die for this country. I still believe I can fight and die for this country in every respect. So long the future will be excellent, I'm ready for it any day, any time, my lord.
Professor Femi Odekunle, charge 1, treason, finding, not guilty. Charge 2, conspiracy to commit treason, finding, not guilty.
In the previous episode, Professor Femi Odekunle presented his petition before the panel and recounted his harrowing experience in the hands of Major Hamza Al-Mustapha and his men when he was wrongfully arrested for the failed 1997 coup. In his petition, he alleged that there was no single evidence linking him to the coup and he was only arrested because he was a Yoruba man. In this episode, Professor Odekunle's wife, Rukayat Odekunle, is called as a witness to testify about the night of the arrests and the months that followed. The man in the eye of the storm, Major Hamza Al-Mustapha, is also given an opportunity to respond to the many allegations leveled against him by the professor. And in his response, he opens a fresh can of worms. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video if you enjoyed it, and let us know what you think in the comment section. Please keep the comments civil, and I'll see you in the next video.
Hold it.
I, Mrs. Rukayat Odekunle, do solemnly swear that the evidence I shall give before this honorable commission shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Please tell the commission your full names, your address, and your occupation.
My name is Rukayat Odekunle. I am a social scientist and a lawyer, and I work with the defunct PTF.
Now you know
You are at liberty to stand or sit.
Thank you
as
very
you
much.
want.
I'm all right, my lord.
Okay.
she would like to join the husband in standing.
I was also a lecturer.
Now, the petitioner, Professor Femi Odekunle, is your husband.
Correct?
Yeah. You also know that the petitioner submitted a petition or complaint to this commission concerning violations to his fundamental human rights by certain functionaries of government during the regime of the late General Sani Abacha.
I'm aware.
Yes. Have you been opportuned to see the petition or
Yes,
to
I
read
have.
it?
Yes, I have. I've seen it and I've read it.
Yes. Now, cast your mind back to 21st December 1997. 21st December 1997. Where were you on that day? Abuja, Lagos, or London? Or where were you?
I was in my husband's official residence in Abuja.
Good. Now, did anything happen on that day that is of any significance or relevance to this petition?
Yes, and to my life.
Yes. Please tell the court.
On the 21st of December that year, I remember vividly, normally every Christmas, the family goes to Elisha for Christmas holidays. And my husband had said we should go earlier.
Mrs. Odekunle, I don't want you to be too fast.
Okay.
I know that you are naturally a fast talker. I want you to move. Don't move too fast.
All right.
Average speed and speak up.
All right.
Don't pity the microphone.
Okay. I remember vividly. Every Christmas, it's a family custom to go down south to my husband's hometown for vacation with all the family.
Hometown, where is that?
Elisha, Osun State.
Yes.
And my husband had insisted I go a day before him because the roads would be very crowded and he didn't want the whole family on the road at the same time and with that sort of crowd, especially with the go-slow in Lokoja. And I had insisted that I would not go because, as usual, I do all my Christmas shopping. Everything we're going to use in the village, food stuff and everything, I buy everything before I go. So normally when we go to the village, we move in a convoy of 3-4 cars because I have a family of about a big family. So I had done all the shopping previous day and I still had a few more things to do. And I insisted that I would not go unless the following day. That night, I had done most of my packing. Everything was in order. My husband had slept pretty late because he was getting all his things in order and saying this petrol money, this money, that money. And about 2:30 or so, we went to bed. About 30 minutes thereafter, 40 minutes thereafter, I heard banging and a lot of noise. I remember waking him up and I said, Femi, something is going on. And I said, wake up. He got off the bed and said, what? And I said, armed robbers. And I panicked. And the door was, at that point, the banging on the door was really, really loud. It was like, open up, open this door. And my husband jumped off the bed and he said, I'm coming. I will open, let me put on my pants. He now was jumping and putting on his boxers. And he said to me, go to the bathroom, go to the bathroom. At that point, they were still banging and saying, we will break the door. He said, please, I am coming. Before he got to the door came crashing down. And when I say crashing, my Lord, I mean it came down. There were people all over the place in uniform. They were hooded. At that point, I had already taken 2 steps into the bathroom, which is not far from the bedroom, just within the room. And as I was moving back, one person in particular came directly to me, held a gun at me and cocked it, and just stood there. I thought I was dead. I just stood there, I froze. But I was hearing what was going on, and my husband was saying, what is it? Why are you beating me? Bah! Don't! What did I? Bah! Bah! I was just hearing his shouts. I could hear it, and I was transfixed. I could not even move because somebody was standing at me, handling a gun. Within a few minutes, it was all over. Bing, 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 bah, bah, bah. Before I knew it, it's like the man standing next to me, I don't even know when he left because I couldn't, I wasn't myself. I ran down the steps, I followed them all the way down till I got outside. At the point I got outside, I saw army men everywhere. There was they had taken him away. I didn't know what had happened, where to, or anything. I remember seeing my children in shock. I mean, nobody could move. It's like,
when you say your children, how many of them? How many of you were there?
We were nothing less than 7, including the older children and the younger children. Like I said, they come from their universities so we can get together to go together.
Can you give us an idea as to their relative ages?
Ranging from 22 down to 3 years old. 22, 18, 16.
In other
7.
words, you had some kids. When
Yes.
I say kids, I mean
I did.
kids of below 7.
Yes.
Yes. And they also witnessed this violent seizure of your husband.
Yes, they did. In fact, my children, as soon as it happened, they were saying, are they armed robbers? One was yelling that his neck was paining because he was slapped so hard. Because when they came to the house, from what I understand later, they went straight to the children's room. And he said, they woke them up with slaps. Where's your father's room? Where's your father's room? He said, why are you, what is? And they were just slapped and beaten. And they came upstairs and they pointed the room. Because they were there, these people were there with hooded, with guns. I mean, fully armed to the teeth. And when I say I heard him shouting, it's like you could hear these blows. It was, why are you beating me? No, why? What is it? They dragged him like a goat down the steps in front of the children who were so agonized to see their father who they think has so much.
I will advise that you compose yourself. You have gone through the worst days.
I'm sorry for the outburst.
We thank God that you are here. Now, from that day, 21st of December, 1997, up till the time your husband was released, did you at any time have any contact with him?
I'm sorry.
Either on phone or by visit or whatever? Did you have any contact with him?
Before I get to that, I'm sorry. My Lord, I didn't finish my story before I got a bit emotional. Okay. At the point I ran outside and they had taken him away, I got back into the house. And I didn't know what had happened, like I told you. And I was wondering, what could it be? My initial reaction was that they are definitely not armed robbers because they were wearing soldier uniforms. So I took his diary and I tried to call Dia, because my first instinct was that it must have been in connection with the bomb blast. And why I said that was because the week before, there was an attempted bomb blast, which my husband had gone to the airport and come back. And I said, why are you back? He said, because there was a bomb blast. And I was like, what's going on? He was very, very concerned with that. And I knew he was very concerned and making some phone calls. I could see he was very, very concerned. So at that point, I thought it was what it was. In any case, I couldn't get anybody on the cellular phone we had. And within 20 minutes or 15 minutes, these people came back to the house. They just came back in, and I was like, they threw the door open. They just got there, pushed me aside, and they started checking the house. Pulled the drawers out, check. They opened everything, turned the beds upside down, checked. They were there for nothing less than 2.5 hours. Every single sheet of paper they opened. They said, where are the other rooms in the house? They went there, they checked. In fact, it's like your whole life. I remember vividly that there were some pictures of me, even naked, that my husband had kept privately. These things were just all over the place. It's like somebody's whole life, your whole everything of secret of yours being torn by total, it's like a stripping of your whole being. And everything, even some things maybe I didn't even know about him, they were there, everything. And they carted them out.
Were you told why he was being seized?
Told, okay.
Now,
what does that mean?
Sir, I was not told at all. Sorry, my lord.
Now, you said he was taken away. After he was taken away by the soldiers, what happened to those of you that were left at home, you and the kids?
Well, by the time things had, in the morning, this searching went on, they left. We were just left in the house. They were left, about 12 armed security, army guys were around the house. They were patrolling the house with boots, coming in. They took a census, how many of us were there. They said how many girls, how many boys. They counted us. They went outside again, and it's like from that time, they were constantly, at night they come at 2 a.m., they change shift, they bring food for the soldiers. It's a constant surveillance of the whole house.
Were you allowed to entertain visitors, to receive visitors?
I was not allowed to receive.
Were you allowed to move out of the premises?
I was not allowed to move out.
So I will be right to say that you were virtually under house arrest?
Yes, I was. In
you
fact,
and all the children?
Yes, we were. In fact, I remember 1 or 2 people dared to come near the house. And believe me, they dragged them into that compound and they were beaten to a pulp. A driver came to find out whether we were traveling, to confirm whether he should go and buy fuel with the money that was left with me to buy fuel, and he was several of them. So nobody could come in or go out.
I wanted to come too and was advised not to.
Nobody, in fact, what he did to friendship is another matter entirely.
Now they took him away, and naturally, you will be curious to see him, isn't it? You are curious to see him.
Yes, I was.
Yes. Were you able to see him anytime after the arrest had been effected?
After the arrest had been effected, I didn't see him, hear from him, know his whereabouts, except that we saw him on TV in handcuffs and leg cuffs appearing before, I think it was one of the tribunals. General Malu's tribunal, yes.
Okay. Please speak up.
I didn't see him or hear from him until when he was released. In fact, not even when he was released, until he stepped into the house without even being inspected.
When was this? Can you remember the date?
When I finally saw him, or when he was released?
When you finally saw him?
I saw him on July 15th. In fact, he walked into the house.
July 15th,
1998.
99.
He walked into the house.
Speak up.
He walked into the house because he wasn't being expected. Because at the time he was arraigned and they had discharged and acquitted him, the family went all out. We jubilated. The children made cards. Daddy's coming back. It was like we bought drinks and said it is all over. And of course, you know.
We'll come to that. Yes.
Then, of course, I didn't see him until he walked in. And believe me, you, between God and man, I swear on this Quran, I didn't know he was the one when he walked in. I did not know.
Okay. Now, you, of course, heard after the judgment of General Malu's tribunal, that your husband had been discharged and acquitted.
Yes, I heard.
How did you feel, and what were your expectations?
Well, you know, when the press had called to interview me several times, I never gave any interview because of the fact that some things words cannot describe. So I can't, when you say, how did I feel? It's like I was elated, I was jubilant, I was anxious, there are so many words I could use. I was expectant.
Will I be right to say that you looked forward to receiving him?
Definitely.
Yes. Now, you have said that your husband testified and said that in spite of the fact that, in fact, the Amadu made an order that those of them who were discharged and acquitted should be allowed to go home straight from the arena, from the date of judgment. Yes. Now, your husband was not allowed to go home.
No, I didn't see him.
Yes, you didn't see him. Did you make any effort on your own part as a wife to fight for his release?
Yes, I did several.
What did you do? Speak up, please.
Initially, after about a week and nothing happened, I was, of course, rather anxious. My sister-in-law had been visiting from London at the time. Of course, as soon as...
Your sister-in-law, what's her name?
Mobola Odekunle. She resides there, and she had come over because of the crisis. We now, of course, by that time, as soon as his discharge and acquittal came, the soldiers were still there, but they had been decreased to about just 3 or so. And of course, the pressure, it was not as bad as it was initially. So myself and her, we went to Abubakar Absalami's house. I remember one morning, I can't remember the exact date. We decided that enough is enough. It is 3 weeks we have not seen him. Is he dead? No phone call, nothing. Something must have happened. So we got up one morning at 6 a.m. and we went to Abubakar's house. At that time, he was in the barracks, Abacha barracks. And we stood outside there and we said, we're not leaving until we get an answer. Either we see him, we see his wife. The security guards came, you cannot stand here. We said, if you like, put us on your head. Today, we will not leave here until we hear what is going on. And we were there for several hours, in fact, up until afternoon, night. Of course, when we discovered that it was becoming futile, people came and said, we have to go, we have to go. We created a scene. We were waiting for him to come to drive out. And we had said that we are going to make a scene when he comes out and stop him. My sister-in-law said she will fall in front of the car and wait and let them match her if that's what it takes to stop him. But of course, you know how people came and begged, you can't be doing this. And after about 5-6 hours, we decided to look for some other channels by getting his number through somebody and try and call him.
Very well. Did you make any written request by way of appeal to anybody?
Yes, I did. Well, after that had failed, I tried severally to get in touch with the wife. First of all, I'm a lawyer, I know she's a judge. I thought to myself, well, being a woman and a mother...
The wife, who?
Yes, Fati Abubakar.
Yes.
And I had made contact with 1 or 2 friends who said that they would try and get a letter across to her. And there was somebody in Ministry of Defense who I was referred to, who is quite close to her, to go and try and do something, which I did. So I wrote this...
Ruki, don't be too fast. Okay. They say you are too fast for them.
Sorry.
Yes.
I wrote a passionate letter to the then First Lady and described what had happened, how it had happened, and the need for us to keep our sanity and to please, as a woman, a mother, and a wife, that I don't need, just let me know he's alive. Let him just talk to me, I am fine. Let me know. Let me just say to me, go and see him, for just see him, don't even let him talk to me. I just need to see him. For 7 months, I didn't know that he was dead or alive. And I wrote this passion letter, of course, from what I discovered, maybe it never got to her.
Last question. Your husband mentioned in his petition, in his testimony before this commission yesterday, that you made one attempt to see him whilst he was in Jos. Would you like to talk about this?
Yes, I did. At that time, we were getting little information from the television and 1 or 2 papers which the security men had helped me to obtain, because we had become, after a while, initially, after about 3-4 weeks, they became a bit sympathetic. And of course, it was the fasting period, I remember. So it was the fasting period, and I remember that at that point when it comes to Udebaki, I would, opening mouth, I would feed all the guards and all of us in the house. So I was constantly feeding them throughout the duration of fasting.
You don't be too fast, please. What do you mean by Budebaki?
Sorry, I mean breaking of the fast, when we're supposed to break fast.
Some of the guards too were fasting.
Yes, most of them were, and I would feed.
And you were feeding them?
Yes, I was. So at that point when I went to Jos, we had a rapport.
And that softened the mind to some extent? Definitely
it did. So what I did was that I did not tell them I was going to Jos. I read it in the papers that all the spouses could make an application and see the people who they wanted to see. And they could come to Jos. And I saw this in the papers. In fact, God so kind, I took the paper where I saw it. So I spoke to the guard and I told him that I was not very well. I was going to the hospital and I would soon be back. And I went straight to the taxi park, jumped into a taxi, and went straight to Jos. Of course, I went straight to Jos prisons. And I got there, and it's like, who am I looking for? What am I doing? And I said, I had this paper in me. I said, I've seen this in the papers, and I've come to see if there's an application or a procedure for me to go about seeing him. Please, how do I make it? What do I do in order to see him? They said, come in. They took me through their maximum prison, opened the gates. I went in. They took me to a room upstairs and got one prison official to come and search me. And she searched me, telling you she did. And they asked me to sit down. They were coming. I waited about 3-4 hours. Eventually, one man came. What are you doing? I said, this is what I saw in the papers. I've come to see my husband. I understand we're allowed to see them. Is it an application we must make? What is the procedure? And he said, he took my handbag, went through my diary, asked me thousands of questions, what and what. He went on, and whose address is this? What? After about 2 hours of interrogation, they now said I should come outside. I will see my husband. Meanwhile, I had taken a taxi to the place. They beat the taxi driver mercilessly. When I got out, I saw the man covered in blood, and he was in his car. They now took a jeep, they said I should get into the jeep. And I said, I cannot enter this jeep. It was a very high. I said, where am I going? Where is my husband? They said, get in to that car. I said, I can't get into it. I'm a lady. I was like, what? They said, okay, I should enter the car behind. So there was a jeep in front, a jeep behind. And I went to Rukuba Barracks. That's where they took me to. They put me into an office, and again, another woman was told to stay with me. As for the taxi driver, in another room.
Now, to cut it short, you were not able to see him.
No, in fact, I was told that I shouldn't believe anything I see in the papers, and that they're surprised at my conduct. With all my education, I would rely on something as stupid as that. They took the paper away from me and said that in my own interest and the interest of my children, I should go back to where I came from and stay put.
Thank you very much. My Lord, that's all for the witness.
Any questions? Any questions? Any cross-examination? None.
No cross-examination, my Lord.
What about you? Any? Yes. None. Thank you very much.
Thank you, my Lord.
Yes?
My Lord, we have one more, very short.
No, I don't want to intervene. If you want more witnesses,
very short.
But
And that will be the last.
Does the case depend on how many witnesses you call?
No, man.
It depends on if the witnesses are believed.
As a court.
And then you've called the petitioner and the wife. You want to call more? All right.
It's going to be very short.
Go on.
DSP Adebowale.
The third witness. Yes. Swear him.
I, Isaiah Adebowale, do solemnly swear that the evidence I shall give before this honorable commission shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Tell, you prefer to stand too? Yes. Tell the commission your full names, address, and occupation.
My name is Isaiah Adebowale, Deputy Superintendent of SSS. Deputy Superintendent of SSS, Aso Drive, Abuja.
Now, you know the petitioner in this case, Professor Femi Odekunle.
Very well.
Now, you are aware that Professor Odekunle submitted a petition to this commission concerning violations to his fundamental rights by certain functionaries under the regime of late General Sani Abacha.
Very well. A copy was sent to me.
Yeah. Now, precisely, cast your mind back to 21st December 1997. 21st December 1997. Where were you on that day? Where were you? By that I mean Abuja, Lagos.
I was in Abuja.
You were in Abuja.
I was in Abuja.
Now, can you remember anything of significance that happened on that day and which is relevant to the petition of Professor Odekunle, which you said you have seen?
There's an alleged coup on that day.
Yes.
Which everybody working with General Dia was arrested.
Yes. Did you see Professor Odekunle on that day?
Yes.
Where?
In front of the head of state office. That's Villa, House of Villa.
Yes. In what circumstance and under what conditions did you see him?
He was being tortured.
Yes, explain what you mean by.
Yes, was being tortured by security men. Then I saw one of the late head of state son with this electric.
We have given an undertaking that we will not mention.
Also, he was tortured by the electric prod that day, and I was there.
Yes, when you say tortured, can you explain briefly? When you say torture, he was tortured. Explain the components of this torture, if you know.
They used electric prod on him, then this cold water, the remaining one for me, they used for him.
Yes.
Then they did this security men, beating, slapping, all sorts of things, which they did to me too.
Thank you very much. And that's all for the witness.
Cross-examination?
My Lord, just 3 questions.
All right.
Will I be correct to say that you are working directly under the ex-Lieutenant General Dia?
I was the chief detail.
Thank you very much. I will equally be correct to say that your official residence as at then was at OAU quarters.
Yes, double.
Okay. You have sworn to tell the truth before this commission.
Yes.
Will I be correct to say that on the day that ex-Lieutenant General Dia was allegedly arrested, he was arrested in your house?
Double.
Thank you very much. Will I equally be correct to say that you, in your capacity as his chief detail, made effort to shield him from arrest?
My Lord, I...
Yes, what is it?
Yes, my Lord,
Yes, what is it?
My Lord, my Lord,
Allow him to make his, what is the...
As the court pleases.
Sir, on that question, I think I was called here to come and give witness in the torturing, not in the tribunal.
Go on, please. Have you finished?
For you to become a chief detail of a VIP,
Yes,
you must belong to the security group.
definitely.
And every security officer worth his salt has the responsibility of protecting his boss as a primary responsibility.
Asking question or...
No, I'm going somewhere, my Lord. Just a little bit of patience.
No, you will ask, at the end you address me.
Yes, my Lord.
But ask questions now.
That is the question I'm saying. As a security officer, worth his salt, will I be correct to say that your primary responsibility is to protect your boss?
Double.
And will I equally be correct to say that it was in the discharge of that duty that you tried as much as possible to shield him from arrest and harm?
Yes.
Thank you very much. That's all for him, my Lord.
Sorry, DSP Adebowale.
Yes, sir.
You stated in your testimony a while ago that you witnessed the torture of Professor Odekunle.
Yes.
And you were also tortured alongside the professor.
By the grace of God.
Yeah, you used the words they. Who are these they who tortured you? Do you remember?
Anyway, for me, I was being handled by the OC, that's Al-Mustapha. He handled me.
Take it coolly.
Yes.
You were handled by who?
Al-Mustapha himself.
Major who?
Major Hamza Al-Mustapha handled me by himself.
Okay, he alone handled you.
Yes.
Thank you. And Professor?
No, Professor was handled by security men and others, not Major Hamza Al-Mustapha.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Re-examination?
No re-examination except to congratulate him for having done his work properly as expected.
Is that the case?
Yes, my Lord.
That's your case.
That is the case for the petitioner.
Officer.
No, come out.
What's the drama for? So we are going to the witness box?
I have not called you, my lord. I just want an issue.
What is this drama about?
There is no drama at all, my lord. My Lord, I'm sorry, I'm not on oath. Just a comment before I start. I personally handled him on that day for 2 reasons. My Lord, I taught him.
I can ask this question.
No, my Lord, it's an issue, he's going away. I taught him, and it's just a message to all security operatives. The fact that General Dia planned coup against General Abacha and Dia had to be arrested. What we taught them is stand by your VIP, die for him before he dies. He did it. I'm very, very proud of him.
Silence, please. Silence. Silence, please. Silence. Silence, please. Silence. Silence, please.
You cannot pick a way.
Yes. What's happening? Well, is this a new case of? Remind him he's still on his oath.
I have not been sworn on this case. I have not been sworn.
Can we go on, my Lord? Can we go on?
In this case, I have not been sworn. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I, Major Hamza Al-Mustapha, do solemnly swear that the evidence I shall give before this honorable commission shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me Allah. Amen.
Quickly tell the court, we will tell the commission your name, please.
My name, Major Hamza Al-Mustapha.
Where do you reside now?
Right now, Koja Prison.
Thank you. Do you know one Professor Odekunle?
Very well.
Okay. Cast your mind back to sometimes in December 1997. Where was he?
1997, he was working at GHQ inside the villa office of the then CGS.
You've been served with Exhibit 1, which contains his petition and allegations in respect of certain human rights violations. Have you read that petition?
I did, my lord.
Assuming you are called upon to briefly state your own position as it relates to that petition, what will you tell the commission?
I have the following short stories to tell, my lord. My lord, first of all, let me reaffirm, because of the relevance I personally have for reconciliation, to still restate my commitment to telling the truth and nothing but the truth. Now, this is a petition that, as far as I'm concerned, borders on one, loyalty, second, intrigues in high places, and I will talk about the two. But before I start, my lord, I will wish to talk about loyalty, and my reference goes to what General Malu said before this honorable body in Lagos. And I quote, loyalty is 100%. It is either 100% or there is no loyalty at all. And based on this assertion, my testimony goes as follows. My Lord, for us to be able to understand very well, and for the petitioner himself to now understand for the first time, I will start the story as such. First, 1994. I'm not going to confine myself to 1997, but 1994, when the petitioner was brought to the presidency from ABU, Zaria, a criminologist, been invited by General Dia. July 1994, one major event had already happened in the government of General Abacha. It was brought down because of the situation in the country. As at then, tension was packed full in the plate of the government then. He was invited, but what happened before he was invited? There was a pressure on the then head of state by General Dia, rallying around the then service chiefs that I mentioned yesterday, who were retired in 1995, General MC Ali and the rest. They pressurized that General Babangida must be arrested and be brought to Abuja to be probed. This pressure, as concerted as it was, General Abacha never succumbed. And he said one of the statements, because when the situation becomes tensed, sometimes the security chiefs must hang around. Anything can happen. General Abacha said, and I quote, "Everything would sort itself by time." They refused, my Lord, to agree with this statement. There was a very hot meeting, and they were warned. After this, General Dia never relented. On his own, he now went on expanding his office with advisors. One of those advisors at that time was the petitioner, Professor. Whether the professor was aware why he was brought to the villa or not, I don't want to digress into that. Whether he actively knew what General Dia's position was all about, my subsequent stories will vindicate what I'm going to say, my Lord. Now, in 1995, in one of the duties of the professor, he wrote a very strong memo, the contents of which are considered within the security circle as treason. That letter was not seen until 1997, December, when Dia was arrested. Now, when a search party went to General Dia's office, I decided intentionally to follow. And the search party was was formed from all agencies into the office, including even Brigade of Guards representatives. It was found in General Dia's drawer. In a nutshell, in it, as far back as 1995, the petitioner told Dia in the memo to say that everything about the government of General Abacha, in and outside, is totally bad. Make your way through. It was a hell lot of a paper. One person only that I'm going to say will be the only person in Nigeria who knows why it was withdrawn. And here I will enlighten the petitioner why he was not charged like the rest. But my Lord, it will be clear to say one thing. To say about the arrest, which is the problem of the petitioner. Now, when it became obvious that General Dia was desperate and the 21st was fixed, either the coup was executed or he was ready to fail. Some of the officers that were there, if the panel finds it necessary, may wish to ask them today or at a later date. General Bama is here. General Sabo is here. I'm sure they will add a lot of light regarding the coup. On that day, I could not come out. Even to my family house, I was for many, many weeks keeping away from my house because even the staff from within were being tasked to do things even beyond them, one of which was eliminate me even within the villa, because my elimination was to signal the coup. I knew. So, my Lord, because I was confined right in there, and because of the nature with which General Dia wanted the coup to be executed, he kept the aspect of the massive attack into the presidency to some of these poor boys. That's why in the case of his chief detail, I can say ignorance was power. He was ignorant, he did his duty at the lower level. But if he knew that it was to be a full-fledged military scale battle using artillery into the villa, probably he would have actually withdrawn. But I thank God that he acted as we taught them. Now, my Lord, when the arrest came, it was obvious that reinforcement into the villa was needed. That was why Brigade of Guards became involved. Military police in uniform became involved in the arrest. A lot of surveillances, like we said, in Lagos was mounted on so many people who were very close associates of General Dia. And at any inkling, like my Lord said earlier, that on suspicion, any security agent has the right to arrest. What matters is investigation after the arrest will determine the innocence of the individual or in a court of law. Based on that, list of so many staff of General Dia were given to me, and I handed over to those drawn as representatives from all the agencies to form the arrest team, while the rest, that's my own boys, form the main vanguard of the villa, which is their primary role. The petitioner's house was visited by one of these teams. In his petition, he says, Mustapha's operatives. I don't have anybody in green uniform, but for the sake of it, whatever they did in green uniform, in the course of defending the government of the day, I accept what he said they did. I accept. They came to arrest him. If it were my boys, I know what I told them arrest is all about. Their last witness can testify what we taught them how to arrest. When you come to arrest, there is no VIP and there is no poor man. Mode of arrest are the same. Mode of search are the same. Vehicle, houses, offices are the same. If it were the operatives I taught, I know what I taught them, and I know that is what they will do. But because there was reinforcement by the soldiers in uniform, whom I never taught and who were not under my command, but because we had a coup to contain, they were sent on arrest. The list was given to me by the government, and I gave them. And they went and they brought him. How they brought him, what happened in his house, I do not know. But from the experiences of the petitioner and that of his wife, and even his son that is not here, I cherish children and I protect them so much. All I wish to say is, on behalf of those soldiers, I apologize. I had to see women, old men and women, and children in any case being tampered with. I had to see that. And I am one of the advocates. And your last witness can come and testify to this assertion. We groomed them and submitted them to protect our VIPs. And all I say is, it's a shame on any security agent that allow himself to die before to allow his VIP to die before himself. It's a great shame. I'm very proud of this boy, and I hope the security services will find him fit to remain as one of the examples we have. Now, my Lord, on the issue of the petitioner being brought to the presidency became the most safe environment based on the nature of the coup as it was narrated by so many officers before in Lagos, and many officers who will come and narrate their own versions later. The presidency was the most skewed point. They were all arrested and brought to the presidency. But the first arrest, other than Major Bilyaminu Mohammed, whose petition I'm going to answer later on, who was arrested even days before, the first arrest were General Diaz's personal escorts, who went on the instructions of General Diaz under the command of his SO, Major Fadipe, as he narrated it in Lagos, to ambush and kill Brigadier General Maazu, the Brigade of Guards Commander, and myself. In Diaz's own plan, our assassination becomes the success signal for the execution of his coup. A dummy was sent, our vehicles moved, and they moved. They were arrested with their weapons cocked by our own boys. As at the time the petitioner was brought, this same assassination team of General Diaz were already brought to the scenario, as at that time our own bodyguards had already known exactly what was going on. We intentionally kept mute and followed the team until the right time before orders are issued. Otherwise, overzealousness could have entered by any of the boys or all of them. The soldiers lost themselves and they were beaten. The assassination team were beaten. I am a witness. And my lord, like I said in Lagos, I ordered the beating of Tona Ogburu in Lagos during 1990 Oka coup. In the case of the petitioner, as far as they were concerned, any other person that was brought there was an assassination team of the brigade commander and I. So when he was brought, many senior officers were there standing when they were being beaten. And the most safest thing to do, since it is coup within the presidency itself, is for one in every action to justify that you are totally loyal. When the soldiers beat them at a point, I intervened, like he said yesterday, and I ordered they should not beat him, and I protected him. First of all, I allow every other suspect to be beaten, and I have my reasons, my lord. But I did not order. If I had any malice against him, I could have ordered it like I did to Tona Ogboru. Like I said, my lord, if I do, I will tell you I have done. If I have not done, I will tell you I have not done. It's a question of credibility. But the petitioner was beaten by these boys until I intervened. And that's why, even when they were being kept in the presence of everybody, I said, keep this category aside, his own category. There are other advisors who were arrested. But I'm telling you today, the petitioner, you were arrested primarily because of that memo, your diary, and one more thing. One more thing. And here, because the petitioner said he is not after the legal aspect of this case, nor is he after the technicalities of this case, quote and unquote, as he said yesterday, but he is after the spiritual aspect of it and the truth. And let me display what truth means, my lord. Not like him. He is a criminologist. When he talked about his son yesterday, my lord, he touched the Bible. But when he was talking about the nitty-gritties of the case, he avoided the Bible. And let me hold the Quran. Let me hold the Quran. My lord, I am a Muslim, and I know what it means to hold a Quran, and I want to show the difference. And at any time you have a critical point that nobody can say, challenge him to do so. I so much cherish that he challenged me to do so. I am holding a Quran and I am looking at you and your wife with all respect to tell you that the reason why you are arrested, to the best of my knowledge, was the memo you wrote to Dia to take over from General Abacha in 1995, one, your diary of events against the government of General Abacha, and the list of potential ambassadors with you as foreign minister. Quote and unquote, my lord. Now, my Lord,
The list of ambassadors is to be appointed. Let's allow him to meet.
can I continue, my Lord?
Silence, please. Silence.
My Lord, I wish to continue, my Lord. Now, I'm sorry, my Lord, I'm taking us back again to 1994, a small event between the petitioner and I. When the petitioner was brought to the presidency, General Dia insisted Mustapha issue him security ID card for the villa. The petitioner can testify, I refused. I was on orders to refuse your ID card. Remember, you came to my office and we had discussions? I refused because I was instructed not to. Whether you knew there was a coup earlier before you came or not, and whether you knew that another coup was being planned at that time, whether you knew or not, I do not know. But some people were tasked to check, and advices came as follows. One, that since General Dia insists on his plan, whatever he requests from you, Mr. Head of State, let go, so that we can see the extent of the plan and contain it. This is the sum deduction of the security report at that time. I issued him ID card. You can testify to that. Your ID card in presidency bear my signature. Now, my Lord, like I said on earlier, now the petitioner was taken to Jos. What happened in Brigade of Guards? I don't know. How he was taken to Jos? I don't know. But he said one thing that also I wish to say. As I took the oath, as I am on oath, I have not ordered any person in any respect to touch you in Jos. In no respect. If I have done, I will look into your eyes and tell you, that's my nature. If you are annoyed today, tomorrow you see the reason why I acted the way I did. Tomorrow will never be the same with today. So my Lord, based on this, I want to correct this wrong assertion in the petitioner and his family. I have never instructed anybody to touch him in Jos or anywhere else. But one very important thing is here, and the petitioner in his petition, or based on the contents of the petition, he has presented himself as somebody who does not know. And let me say it now. When you were arrested, this hard exhibit was sent to the convener of the military, the Special Investigation Panel and the Military Tribunal, General Abdusalami Abubakar. Your wife said she visited his wife for your sake, but get this story right. Everybody was charged except him. Within the SIP and within the military tribunal, this is a question yet to be answered. Within the presidency is a question yet to be answered. Within the knowledge of security agencies, this is a question very well known. What happened? Why was he not charged 4 weeks? Why was everybody charged and he was not charged? The exhibit that were found speaks for itself. But my Lord, these exhibits between the convening authority, General Abdusalami Abubakar, SIP, military tribunal, it is missing. But it's a common knowledge that the documents speaks for themselves on issues of treason and conspiracy to treason. I am sure I was not there. Those who put his charges in paper is because probably they were aware of the contents of those exhibits. The question is, where has General Abdusalam Abubakar taken those exhibits to? And I think we need to know. But unknown to the petitioner, he has put Abdulsalam Abubakar as one of the accused. All I say to the petitioner now, in a nutshell, is thank God Almighty, you were discharged and acquitted because it's God Almighty that did it first. But it was General Abdulsalam Abubakar that did it for you, for the following reasons. My Lord, I said before, General Adisa confirmed what I said. MC Ali, General, confirmed in his latest book that there were coup plans against General Abacha in the past, as far as from 1994 up to the last day General Dia was arrested. If this is a fact, which it is so, then my Lord, what happened was General Abdulsalam Abubakar, in that memo, if it were to be investigated, his full involvement into the previous coups could have been plain open, and he would have lost his seat, and it could have been him. He could have been probably out, or he could have gone for his own, and General Abubakar could have gone for his own. One exhibit, two accused persons. General Abdulsalam Abubakar decided to cover it for himself. Now that he did it, you could not be charged in the absence of any exhibit. That is exactly the problem. And I hope General Abdulsalam Abubakar, in the interest of reconciliation, can say it the way it was. After all, in high places, some games are being played. An issue of maturity and protection of personal interests, several, just like one of the examples we had yesterday, that of Yomita Koya. In a nutshell, my Lord, this is my own aspect of it. But if he has any other witness, can also say his own at a later date. I thank you, my Lord.
Any cross-examination?
No, my Lord, we have not. I'm still leading him.
You have not been leading him all the time.
Yes, what I did was to ask him to
lead now.
As a military man, to fire at his own time.
Lead.
Yes, my Lord. I am a bit uncomfortable, and I will ask you this question for clarity.
Yes, my Lord.
These hard facts that you claim to have had that led to these testimonies, people who ordinarily should be here to say the different side of the stories are outside saying it's a testimony of, let me use the word, is it a downing man or a drawing man or whatever?
Yes. Yes, I understand.
Man, sorry,
I know what you're talking about.
Yes. So what exactly, what went wrong? What is the problem?
My Lord, I know where I was kept or where I'm being kept. I'm far away from knowing what outside is all about. I don't read papers, but when we come to places like this and when people are holding, we try to peep through. And we used to become very inquisitive to our counsels. And he told me that one of the papers had tagged me as the drowning man. And that's why when I come to the panel like this, I do talk. But let me say, my Lord, I know in Lagos, my Lord, the chairman of this panel, you cautioned in one of the occasions when I brought one of the documents tagged secret, an SSS document, which compelled the DGSSS to come. And when my Lord was speaking, whether he spoke directly or not, but it was aired, it was said. I mean, I heard it over the speaker when you were conferring. I'm sure the microphone was on, my Lord. And you said, I thought he is a security man, and so he should not tender security papers. My Lord, my understanding of this honorable body and the future of Nigeria is to say that facts must be presented clean or dirty as far as yesterday was concerned, for you to be able to look at the future and be able to provide the needle and thread to stitch our flag properly. And I talked based on that. But again, I'm still conscious. I know I'm a security man and I'm still talking as such. If I am to talk ho-ha into so many security issues, I don't think the panel can contain me, my Lord. My Lord, I'm very conscious. Whatever you hear me say here, I am talking about expired informations. I am not talking about expired intelligence. Talk less of intelligence. And I want this definition done, my Lord. So to those who classify me as a drowning man, let them know and understand that probably they are ignorant or they are being brought to write what they are writing in papers. My Lord, I said it yesterday and I'm repeating again. If they wish to call me the drowning man, it is their right to wish, is their wish to do so. Today, it seems from all the tentacles put around me, I don't even have the right to sue anybody to court. From the aggressions with which we are being pursued with, from the humiliations, from even mere position or to a position of no right at all. And yet here we are, invited in the Human Rights Commission to be able to talk on human rights issues. We don't have, but we are speaking about it. Even they understand or not, whether they do, to those who sponsor them, my Lord, it is simply because you have had witnesses who lacks the guts to say, I am a Nigerian, I love this country, I'm interested in the future of this country, I'm interested in the future of the young ones, and I love to see a very peaceful, very cohesive Nigeria that I took oath with as a soldier to fight and die for this country. I still believe I can fight and die for this country in every respect. So long the future will be excellent, I'm ready for it any day, any time, my Lord.
My Lord, that will be all for the witness for this matter. We are grateful.
Any questions?
Now, Major Al-Mustapha.
Yes, my Lord.
First of all, I must congratulate you for admitting and apologizing on behalf of the government of which you are a part that Professor Odekunle was tortured at his premises on 21st of December during his arrest, and more importantly for admitting and apologizing that he was beaten when he was brought to Aso Rock on that day before you eventually rescued him. I thank you very much. I appreciate your honesty on that score.
Correction.
Yes. Yes.
I said, and I quote myself.
Yes.
I was not a witness to his being beaten in his house, but I was a witness to his being beaten in the presidency. Quote and unquote. Don't misquote me.
Okay. But you said, sorry, it's not my intention to misquote, but you admitted that the men who effected the arrest of Professor Odekunle on that day were your own men and some soldiers sent from some places you don't know.
Another misquotation again.
Yeah.
I said and I repeat. Let me quote myself.
Yes, I want to get you.
Okay,
correctly.
get me loud and clear.
Yes.
Soldiers that wears green uniform
yes.
in combat outfit
yes.
were not under Mustafa's command.
Okay.
Soldiers that have been turned into bodyguards.
Yes.
I accept they were my boys. Yes. The soldiers that came to his house were the arrest team that was formed to support the situation of the day. One of the arrest team came to his house in green. My boys stood to keep as vanguard to the villa, primary role.
Thank you very much. Now, in the course of your testimony, you referred copiously to a memo purportedly written in 1995 by the petitioner to the then CGS General Kodia. You referred to that memo, Major Mustapha.
Absolutely
yes.
correct.
And that was barely a year after he was seconded to the office of CGS as political advisor, political and economic advisor.
Barely a year,
yes.
full year, I cannot recall the date.
Yes.
Barely a year or a full year, I cannot recall the date.
But not up to 2 years.
No, not up to 2 years. I'm referring to 1995.
Yes. Now, at what point you told the tribunal that this memo was discovered or retrieved from General Diaz's office sometime in 1997? Can you tell the commission?
Correct?
Correct. Yes, in 1997.
Yes.
Now, was it before or after his arrest? Was it before or after the arrest of the petitioner?
After the arrest of General Diaz,
yes,
that particular memo was found.
Yes.
Prior to that, there were exhibits, the balance two, that were found.
Yes.
The diary and the list of potential ambassadors and the potential foreign minister, your client.
Now, in other words, the memo written by the professor in 1995 formed one of the bases that informed your decision or conclusion that he should be charged as one of the suspects to the 1997 coup.
Okay, before I answer you,
I hope you got me right.
Let me correct one assertion.
Yes.
Are you talking of Mustafa's decision or you are talking of government decision?
Government decision. You gave evidence. You gave evidence here now and listed a number of reasons why he was arrested, why he was put before the tribunal. And the